of you. And today we are celebrating Women's Day at TiE Mysuru. On this occasion, we have a special founder series, Fireside Chat with Dina Weber and Raquel Cohanim. So we welcome you to TiE family. We are here to celebrate the incredible achievements, resilience, and contributions of women around the world. We have an exciting lineup of discussions, insights, and networking opportunities planned for you on this significant occasion of International Women's Day celebration at TiE Mysuru. I extend my warmest wishes to all the phenomenal women leaders present here. Let us join hands and hearts as we embark on this journey of inspiration, empowerment, and celebration. A very lovely wishes to all the beautiful women, all the girls and leaders present here. And to kick off this event, please join me in welcoming our President of TiE Mysuru, Dr. Mahesh Rao, who will deliver the opening remarks and welcome address.
It's a great pleasure to be here today celebrating the women's achievement, and TiE Mysuru is very proud to have them and celebrate that. There is a saying, no one ever became a success without taking chances. One must be able to recognize the moment and seize it without delay. And the two people whom we are going to be talking today, they have done that successfully in Mysuru, and we are proud to have them here. Just before we start anything, we need to talk about TiE, what TiE stands for. TiE is a global organization which started in 1992 in Silicon Valley and now spread across 14 countries with about 60 plus chapters, 3,500 charter members, and associate members and student members. Together, we have about 6,000 plus people who are willing to support you in your entrepreneurial journey, from mentoring you, educating you, investing in your enterprise, and ensuring that there is a networking which is done where you can find opportunities and mentoring opportunities as well as investment opportunities. Along with that, incubation at various places. In that way, Mysuru TiE chapter started about 5 years back. We have been conducting monthly events as well as various other events, celebrating the entrepreneurial journey of various entrepreneurs who are there. And we have 5 institutional members and about 60 charter members and about 80 to 100 associate members and student members. We invite all of you to be here, understand what we do at TiE, and appreciate it and work with us to make TiE Mysuru a great success. Along with that, on April 20th, we will have the TiE Global Summit curtain raiser in Mysuru. TiE Global Summit is going to be between December 9th to December 14th, spread between Bangalore and Mysuru. In Bangalore, it will be the starting of the TiE Global Summit, with Mysuru culminating the whole, what we call it as the entrepreneurial festivities. We call this TiE Global Summit this year as an Olympics of entrepreneurship. That is the whole, what you call it as the main focus which we are trying to do this year, which is, we say that this is going to be the Olympics of entrepreneurship, which is going to be celebrated between the two cities. So Bangalore will host the first part of it, which is going to be attended by 3,500 people. That is the estimate. And there will be TGS 100, top 100 startups from all over the world participating in it. And there will be about 300 investors who will be culminating and trying to see how they can support such an ecosystem to be built between Mysuru and Bangalore, and in that entrepreneurial journey of startups. So December 13th, 14th will be in Mysuru, and 14th will be the culminating day, which will be in Mysuru. And a curtain raiser for that is going to happen on April 20th in Mysuru, in this same hall, starting at 4:30 in the afternoon, going all the way up to 9 o'clock. So that's the program for TiE. And again, thank you very much. Today, as the Vidya Patel indicated, we are going to be having two eminent startups in Mysuru from totally different kind of perspective, coming and talking about their journey, which will be moderated by Ashwini Thammaiah. It will be a wonderful thing for us to see it. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you will all enjoy this wonderful session. Thank you.
And this is a time for me to introduce today's moderator, Ms. Ashwini Thammaiah. She is a remarkable leader in MadTech industry with over 2 decades of experience as country head and board member at iSOCRATES. Ms. Ashwini has been instrumental in driving innovation and digital transformation. She founded iSOCRATES MadTech Private Limited in Mysuru and leads a diverse team of professionals across AdTech, MarTech, and data tech verticals. Ashwini's impressive credentials include technical and operational certifications, a master's in information technology, recognition as a Six Sigma Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, and Salesforce certified marketing, cloud, and email specialist. Beyond her professional achievements, Ashwini's journey from being an accomplished athlete in her school days to an entrepreneurial leader reflects her determination and resilience. So let us applaud her, not just for her professional excellence, but also for her all-round capabilities and leadership skills. So without further delay, I invite Ashwini Thammaiah to take the stage, and she will be introducing the speakers and moderating the Fireside Chat. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vidya. So now I invite Dina Weber, founder Sapa Bakery. A German naturally means being surrounded by a large variety of bread and heritage. Ironically, she had to come to India, though, to get hooked on sourdough. While traveling the country in 2015, she worked in a French bakery in Goa, where she met a baker from the UK. So he asked her if she could take care of his sourdough culture for a few days. The concept of sourdough was not new to her, but to actually touch it, take care of it, and realize its aliveness lit a spark in her. So she made her own starter while working as a pastry chef in a cafe in Ladakh. So traveled to Germany with it, milled her own flours to find more deep flavors locally, took it back to India and learned it for 4 years about this microcosmos of behavior. So she lives in Mysore with her partner Bala and their 2-year-old daughter Martha. So I welcome on stage Dina. So now let's move on to our next guest, that is Raquel Cohanim. So founder, the local friendly bakery. Raquel Cohanim owns and founded the local friendly bakery in Mysore. So she is a self-taught chef who was raised in Guatemala. Raquel started the friendly bakery in 2022 and has been working to ensure that every one of the pastries is of great quality, made with seasonally available local ingredients. So Raquel, so please welcome on stage. Traditionally, women have played a pivotal role in supporting the family and as housewife as well as supporting in farming. However, in the modern world, terms have changed and women's success is measured more from her intellectual ability than just manual labor. So what if the women have crossed border to perceive their vision? It's like extra cheese on the bread, right? Yeah. So in Fireside Chat, so we aim to delve into the unique experiences, perspectives, and insights of such women entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated borders in pursuit of their entrepreneurial visions. Okay. So, Dina, over to you. So share your entrepreneurial journey and what made you come to Mysore. So is it the people, weather, or the landscape?
I think it's a mix of things. I came a bit by chance 7 years ago. And before that, I had traveled through India for 2 years and I never really settled in one place. And when I came to Mysore, it felt like a very instant connection. I really liked that it was calm and green, but you're not too far cut off because you can go to Bangalore fairly quick. So it seemed like a very, very good mix of different things. And I think the people are lovely and welcoming and warm as well.
Yeah, thank you, Dina. So, Raquel, in the same lines, so what inspired you to embark onto entrepreneurial journey? And in Mysore, already there are traditional bakers, and then this business is already there. That means there is competition. Still, why choose Mysore?
So I was here during COVID, and I really, really wanted to eat a croissant, and nobody was making them in Mysore at that time. This was 2020, and so I thought, well, if nobody else is going to do it, then I have to. So I decided that I would make them myself. And, you know, actually, it's funny, next door to my bakery, there is an Indian Iyengar bakery. So we have both. We have our side and we have their side. And we really don't overlap at all. So I found my niche pretty quickly. The viennoiserie, the pastries that we make, they don't really get made here outside of Sapa right now. So I think I'm okay.
Yeah, so that was quite interesting. Thank you. Dina, so entrepreneurship is not easy, and especially being a woman, crossing borders and coming here. So what challenges did you face, and then how did you come over it?
I think it's a constant learning. It doesn't really stop. For me personally, the biggest challenge is learning about business structures and like money flow, cash flow, and inventory systems and those things, because I have not learned that before. So it's something that you have to teach yourself, and I think that's a long process, and it might also never stop. I think you can always get better at it, learn more about it, and expand your perspective on it. That's one thing that I find challenging. And the other thing for me that's really difficult is people management. I think that takes up a lot of your energy. It can be emotionally really draining. It can really take time to figure out how to deal with certain situations. And I think now I know a lot more than I knew 3 years ago, and I'm guessing it'll be an ongoing process as well. Because you keep learning and you keep running into new situations where you're like, oh, I don't know how to deal with that, and then you really have to work through it. Or at least for me, I really have to think about it a lot, and then get into the situation, maybe solve something or maybe assist someone, and then you learn from it, and then the next time the same issue comes up, then you know much better how to deal with it. But the first time it's always hard, and I think when you run something and when you own a business, you have a lot of these first-time experiences that keep coming up, and that's the challenge, right? You constantly have a new problem, and you need to figure out how to solve it.
Yeah, so that's a great answer. Yeah, I do agree, and especially people challenges could be new every day. Yeah, in the similar lines, so Raquel, what obstacles you had, and then how did you overcome those?
Obstacles, we've had many of them, mostly like bureaucracy and moving our place a few times before we finally settled in one location. But everything is a learning process, just as Dina was saying. You just have to learn. I didn't know anything about business before starting, so everything has been a learning curve.
Sure, yeah. Dina, so as you mentioned, so you were introduced to new cultural norms and business practices, right? So, how did you adapt to these new cultures and new rules, law of the land and things like that?
Um, so I never ran a business before, so I think that helps because you don't know
Yeah.
any other way of how it could be.
Right.
So that was good. I didn't have any expectations. I think something that really put me in awe was how running a business here in hospitality, you really start to have a community of people, and your guests and your customers and your patrons, they start to really become an integral part of your business. And somehow that has helped me navigate administration challenges and challenges with authorities, because when you talk to some of the customers that you start to get to know and then you explain to them what might be an issue, maybe they're like, hey, I know somebody, or hey, I've done this before, I know how to go through with this. And that really helps you, and I feel like that's something, I don't know if that would happen in a big city in India, but I feel like in Mysore it's just so amazing how people help you and kind of take you under their wings a little bit. And you really need that when you navigate, at least in my opinion, I think you need a lot of contacts and networking if you want to navigate challenges with when you need your licenses and your permits. It's not easy, and I usually don't do it on my own because I just find it very hard. I think Germans are not subtle enough to understand what officials want. There's a lot of implied messaging, and I do not understand any of it, so I have to let other people do it, mainly.
Okay, understood. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. Since it was first, you are just starting the business for the first time, there was nothing like unlearning and learning, right? So, yeah, it's always difficult to unlearn something and learn new. So, yeah, I agree with you. Raquel, what strategies did you employ to integrate into the local business ecosystem and build relationship with the stakeholders?
Well, I made friends. Exactly what Dina was saying about building a community. And when I first met her, I remember how much she was talking about this exact thing, which is building a community of people in the industry that you work in so that you have a support network. And that's exactly what we've both been doing, I think. I am really good friends with my maida supplier. I'm really good friends with my milkman. He's across the street from us. Like, we see the cows getting milked, we go and pick up the milk. It's a wonderful system. And so just having those connections is so important, because if you don't have a connection with the people that you're working with, it's much more difficult to get what you want. And so you have to be able to build those bridges. And I'm really, really happy that we've been able to do that at the bakery.
Well said. So, Dina, so what were some of the key milestones or success in your entrepreneurial journey across borders?
Never thought of that. Having proper accounting was one, because I think that was eye-opening. And we moved location twice. So first it was like a studio bakery, then we had a very small cafe, and now we have a slightly larger cafe. And I think each one was a huge learning curve, like a leap onto a new plateau, because then suddenly you have more capacity and you have more space and a bigger team, and then you learn so much and so quick. So I think those were milestones as well. Starting to pay myself a salary, that took a long time, and that was a big one. I think those like moving, having a clear accounting sheet, and paying myself a salary so far.
Sure, yeah. So one of the qualities of any entrepreneur, right? So sacrifices. So
Yes.
if you have to grow the business and help your team. Yeah. Raquel, can you share an enriching experience or achievement that you are proud of?
I thought about this question a lot. And because she sent us the questions in an email, and I wrote all of my answers in a note in my phone. My phone is sitting... Hello. My phone is sitting over there. Can you hear? it's okay?
You want to use this?
That's better. Okay. So yeah, my phone is sitting over there, and I don't have access to my answers, but I'll try my best. I think just doing what I did, opening a bakery on the other side of the world, is a huge achievement. I couldn't think of anything specific other than that. This is huge. And everyone that I meet tells me the same thing. They're like, wow, I can't believe you actually did that. And neither can I. I wake up in shock most days. So yeah, that's the big achievement and enriching experience has been building this bakery from where it was, which was nowhere, to where it is right now.
And especially being a woman, right? Yeah. So Dina, what advice would you offer to other women entrepreneurs, who want to venture into such business internationally or for the, local women?
This is a very, I think, a personal perspective. I don't know if everybody agrees, but I feel like for me, I think there is this whole thing of being a girl boss and you have to be cut like a man to make it, and maybe hospitality is different to other industries, so there might be leeway there, but I feel like don't try to be like a man. I think like just try to be yourself, allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from your mistakes, and don't try to be like a man. I think for me that works really well. I'm a very emotional person. And whatever differences there might be with the genders, I think it's okay to be different, it's okay to be emotional, you can still be a good leader, even if it's maybe not in the classic male cutout shape. I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, well said, Dina. I agree with you. So because nature has created us differently for a specific reason, right? So there should not be any competition, but we have to work in harmony. So, Raquel, is there anything you wish you had known, done differently when starting your cross-border entrepreneurial journey?
Everything. I didn't know anything. My qualifications are, I have a bachelor's degree in physiology, and I used to bake in my apartment in college. That's all. So I didn't know anything about running a business. I didn't know anything about running a business in India. And I have learned so much in the past 2.5 years, which, like one specific thing, I would say don't do anything without a rental agreement or a lease agreement on a property. I already made that mistake for you. You don't have to.
Yeah, I can relate to. Dina, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through your cross-border endeavors?
I don't know if it's specific to being cross-border, but I think I said this a lot, I probably told you also, like I think I speak about this one place where I used to work in Germany, and I said it like over and over again, but it was such a lovely place to work at. It was a bar, and I think hospitality is about community. Again, I think other industries work differently, but for us in that bar, it was always this amazing feeling of being part of the family. You knew the regulars, you were part of menu creation, you would come in on your day off, you knew your boss fairly well, you knew the team really, really well, what was going on with everybody, and you just felt really at home. And every time I go home, I still go to that place and make sure I say hi to everybody. And somehow I wish for our guests and our team and everybody who has worked there to kind of keep that in their head, that hey, this was such a lovely, warm place, and I would always like to come back and just say hi to everyone. I think that's a really nice takeaway or legacy when you run something.
Okay, nice, thank you. Raquel, so how do you prioritize social responsibility and sustainability in your entrepreneurial pursuit?
I am trying to eliminate food waste as best I can. For us, a lot of bakeries that I know, they will happily reuse things the next day, not because they're like old, but because they can survive that long. But our food is 24 hours. That's as long as it lasts. And I've told many people in the audience actually that we don't have a long shelf life on our products, which is a bit difficult for people to swallow. But so in order to eliminate food waste, we have to make sure that we make the right amount of everything for the day, because otherwise I or my staff will just have a lot of boxes to take home. Or in the worst case, like it gets thrown away, which is something that I really want to avoid. So for me, sustainability is making sure that we keep the right amount of food so that we can sell out. And if that means making less pastries so that we don't have waste, I'm okay with it, because I would much rather sell out and go home early than have to throw everything away at the end of the day.
Oh, that's a great thought, Raquel. Dina, so how do you see the landscape of international entrepreneurship evolving, particularly for women entrepreneurs?
In India?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't know so much about legislation and if legislation is getting easier or not. For me, it was fairly easy because I was married to an Indian citizen. So then it was very easy to start a business. I don't know how easy that is for you. I think, yeah, so I don't think they make us that easy, but I feel like it's considerably easier for us to start a business here, whereas Indians probably find it very hard to just even go abroad on a visit visa sometimes to Europe. So I think in that comparison, it's much easier for foreigners to come here and start something. It's possible. It might be really hard and complicated and annoying to deal with it, but it's possible. Whereas I think Europe and the US, I don't know, but Europe is really hard to get into. And I think it's really sad that there's this discrepancy with based on what passport you have. I don't know if it's specifically different for women. A lot of people told me, oh, it might be very hard for you as a woman because certain men are not used to working for women here, but I never had that. I personally never had that issue. For me, there's more issues in terms of having people from different backgrounds in the team, and I need to be able to understand what these backgrounds mean and how to talk to people in different ways. And I should improve my Kannada also, I must admit. But I think that is really important. Like, you need to be socially quite sound and sensitive to be able to deal in hospitality with people who are from a very small village outside of Mysore, or somebody from Bandra, from Bombay, who now moved to Mysore because they want to work with you, but just for 6 months, and then move somewhere else, who have like all freedom and possibilities in their life. And the variety of people that work in a team are huge. So I think you need to be quite sensitive to that. But that's not very women specific. I think but that's hard for foreigners to learn because we are not familiar with maybe different communities having different ways of eating. You know, when we make staff lunch, now once a week we make meat. But then some people, they don't want to eat meat on Saturday, or then some people are fasting on meat on specific times. So then based on that, we have to make more vegetarian alternative or less. So those things, you know, it's small things, but they really matter. And I really need to, I'm like the dummy, and people have to explain it to me, and I'm like, okay, yes, I get it, let's do it. You know, so you have to be open for that.
Yeah, for your knowledge, it's an internal challenge as well within the country, you know, between the states.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the similar lines, Raquel? You want to add anything?
Starting a business as a foreigner, because I didn't have the luxury of being married to an Indian citizen, and I still don't.
It's a privilege.
Sure. It's really hard.
I think most of them, they did not know it was available or open.
No, I could complain about the FRRO for hours, but I won't. I'll spare you. But starting is not so difficult. I'll say this to add to Dina's point about how much more difficult it is to start in Europe. I specifically chose to start in Mysore because I knew that my investment initially was going to be much, much lower than if I had gone anywhere else. Like I thought about if I had to make an investment, like the initial capital that I would need to start up a bakery in the city that my family is from in the United States, I would need at least 1 crore, at least, maybe 2, just to start up. And here, my initial investment was around 25 lakhs, which you couldn't buy a shoebox in a different country with that much money, So that was definitely something that I'm really grateful for. But yeah, bureaucracy is a tough thing to navigate as a foreigner here because I have to leave the country every 6 months because I'm not from here. So my visa is a complicated situation which is ever evolving. I have to change my visa. I have to adapt. Like I have to report to the FRRO for every advancement that we make, and all these little things that a local would never have to deal with. Those are things that really rule my life. So yeah, it is very, very difficult. To start, not so much, but to stay, yes. Because they give you a certain amount of time where your business can, anything can happen, and then after a certain amount of time, if you're not making the right amount of money, they don't want you here anymore. So that is a challenge that we're navigating at the bakery.
Okay, understood. So are there any new markets or opportunities you guys are planning to explore?
The new market is Mysore. It's very new for me. I'm learning every day. I have not had to deal with these people management things because my team is very small. But no, my new market is here. So I'm first gonna focus on what's happening in Mysore, get to know and establish ourselves very, very well before we even consider going somewhere else.
Okay. Well, Dina, you want to add anything? The same thing? Are you exploring anything new in the existing business or?
Yeah, I think there's always things to explore. The reason why when we moved into a bigger location with so much space was that I really didn't want to run out of capacity for a long time because we had really struggled. In the old place, there was no space in the fridge. There was no space for us to have staff lunch. People would queue up a lot. They had to wait for too long. We had no space to keep inventory. So I was like, okay, let's get a really big space and not run out of space. And we kind of have run out of space now. So it didn't last very long, but I tried. And we keep buying more fridges and it just keeps getting filled up. I think there's never enough fridge space. But I think we do have some room to expand. I think when you're creative, you should try to look at increasing capacity with what you have. Because you can't just expand. In hospitality, I don't like models of getting huge investment and then growing times 100 in a year or two. I think in hospitality, that's quite fatal if you want a good product. And I never like chains that do that. I think there's a lot of chains that really dropped in quality once they got this kind of huge funding. So I'm never going to look for that for sure. But I think there's creative ways of doing events or doing certain pop-ups or maybe drops in few other places where you can still be in full control of your one outlet but explore other things that are fun, exciting, you learn something, it's exciting for the customers, it's exciting for you and for the team. So I think you have opportunities like that a lot. And I think, growing slowly is the game.
Yeah. So, a quick time check and then audience interest check. So, looks like everybody is almost going to sleep. So, from out of, the deep discussion, so let's get into something fun. So, over to, this is the rapid fire round. So, let's start with Dina first. Dina, what is the Kannada name for bread? How do you say, bread in Kannada? Yeah.
I don't know. Oh God, wow.
That was the out of syllabus question.
What is it?
It is the out of syllabus question.
Yeah, no, but what is the word?
Roti.
Roti.
Yeah, roti,
Okay.
we call that.
Okay.
Okay, so if your bakery were a song, which Bollywood song would it be and why?
Wow. I'm terrible with names. I know a melody that was always on the bakery playlist. I think it's a holy song. Na, 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 na. Yes, I think that I would choose that.
Okay. So if you could have a bake-off with any famous chef, who would it be and why?
There's somebody that I learned from called Frank Hasnoot that I really admire. He won Best Pastry Chef 2014, and I attended one of his courses, and I just love his flavors, textures. Like for me, he's like a true artist. He comes up with very new things that nobody has thought of before. It's an amazing person.
Okay. So what is the silliest reason a customer had for wanting a refund? Was there any or you can't think
there
of?
were plenty, but I don't know which one was like silly.
So you are trying to see which is the more silliest
like
one.
sometimes we are at fault, right? So that's not silly, that's justified. But man, I can't think of anything right now. I'm sure there's something, but I can't think of anything.
That's fine. Let's. You have Raquel. You want to cover that question?
Someone just didn't like it. She just came back. She ate one piece. She bought 3 pieces. She ate one piece. She left. She came back and she said, "Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't like it. Can I get a refund?" I was like, "I'm sorry. That's not how it works."
Okay. So Dina, the last question for you. So if you could only bake one type of pastry, bread, cake for the rest of your life, what it would be and why?
Sourdough bread, I think. It's the most challenging, it never gets boring, it's so alive and changes each day with temperature, humidity in the air. The flour batch of your miller might change, and that changes how you need to autolyse your dough, and it's something that you need to be in relation with all the time. So I think it just never gets boring, even though it just has 3 ingredients. So I would definitely choose that.
Okay, thank you. So Raquel did something, and then what I would say, so a treaty kind of thing wherein she wanted a question changed. So yeah, I have accommodated that. So Raquel, can you say a sentence in Kannada?
Salpa Kannada barutte.
Nice. One more, please.
Okay, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to talk about? Let's see.
Yeah. Any audience?
Ask me a question. Very, very basic. Okay, I'm reading a first standard notebook right now. This is what I can do. Sorry. Invite us to your thing. Bunny.
Right. So, who is your inspirational personality?
My grandmother. Actually, like all of the women in my family. I guess my dad too, but all of the women in my family, for every generation that I know and that I have met, they're all chefs or bakers or involved in food somehow. So my grandmother actually just published a cookbook, which I have very proudly in my home. And I shamelessly use her recipes for the bakery, and people like them. I look up to my mom, I look up to my grandmothers, my great-grandmother also, who had such a hard life, and she made the most out of what she had. So, definitely.
So, what's the funniest mishap you had while baking?
So, not at this bakery that I'm working at now, but that I own. The funniest thing I think that's happened is one time I was making a cake, and there's these tins that is called a springform pan. So it opens, and everything can fall out. But if it's baked, it won't. So I was putting this pan in the oven full of cake batter, and I missed, and the whole thing just went down on the floor. And I my boss just looked at me and rolled her eyes, and I had to clean up my mess. But yeah,
So what's your favorite hangout place in Mysuru?
my house. I love to be at home. I guess also maybe KRS Backwaters, because it's nice and peaceful, but my home.
So if you could create a cake inspired by your favorite movie, so what movie would it be and what would be the cake or pastry look like?
This is a hard question.
You're asking hard questions.
First, I have to think of my favorite movie, and then I have to think of a pastry that I would like to model after it. Let's think of a Disney movie. I guess I would love to eat the wedding cake from The Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked so grand, and I think maybe if I could make that, that would be wonderful.
Okay, so do you have plans to make something like that?
No, no, not anytime soon. Cakes are not my strong suit.
Okay, yeah, so we are at the end of rapid fire round, and I think so we have come to the end of this session as well. So it was really great to know, so both of your entrepreneurial journey and all the challenges that you had, and then how did you overcome. So and as Dina rightly mentioned, so it's all like learning every day, right? So every day is a new learning. So yeah, and thank you both of you for coming here and sharing all your experiences. Thank you.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes, please.
Because I think India is a country where women have been leading since a very long time, and one of the first female presidents or chief ministers was from India, and I think it's like against a lot of popular belief that this is a country where women are not given opportunity, and there's definitely certain things that are hard for women, but I also think that it's an amazing country where women have been leading amazingly well.
Yeah, thank you. That's true. So you wanted to add anything? Okay. Yeah. So thank you both of you. So So now we will open it for so audience question. So does anybody have any question?
Thank you, both of you, for sharing insights into your journey. It's wonderful to see you here settling down in Mysuru. My question to you, both of you, is we have festivals on all the 365 days in India, okay? Because the festivals are so important, they're very traditional, and especially people who work for you. How do you manage them? Because it's a very touchy issue.
And one of my employees is a Christian, so she very generously came in this morning. But usually I just ask people if they want to take the day off, and if they say yes, then they're more than entitled, because I don't believe in making people work on a day that they hold important to them. So if it's important to you, thankfully, what Dina was saying about everybody being from a different background has been really advantageous, because not everybody cares about the festivals, you know. Some people like Holi, some people like Ugadi, some people like Christmas, and they're never the same people. So you can always manage that way.
There's a few festivals, I think, where it's understood that Christmas and Easter, we try to work around it, but at the same time, those are usually festivals that are very busy for us, especially Christmas and Easter, because I think our line of work is more associated with that type of food. So it is also understood that you can't take 3 days off at once. So I think we have a very clear understanding that if it's very busy, you can take half a day off or maybe a full day, depending on how many people are asking. And if it's a festival where it's not very busy, like for Eid, then of course everybody for Eid can take off, or if Sankranti, if there's a few people who want to take off for Sankranti, they can. But yeah, never everybody, and usually we make it quite clear that in hospitality, taking leave is not a given. It's not something you can necessarily expect. It might be granted, it might not work out, not in bad will, but you can't rely on it. And I think in hospitality, that's something that you need to live with when you work in that industry.
on validation. So you both took a lot of risks, set up this, and again, looking at the products, what you cater to the local competition, the price points were much, much higher. So there was a lot of uncertainty when you started up. So my question is, when did you see that aha moment, like, okay, this thing works? When did you find product market fit? Or as per you, both of you, like when do you think, okay, this is scalable, or this is, I have my repeat customers, whatever it is. So how did you find product market fit in each of your businesses?
When we did not have a cafe or an outlet, it was a studio kitchen, and I had a WhatsApp group, and I was open twice a week with a weekly changing menu. And suddenly people were lining up, and there were people in the supermarket asking me, hey, are you Dina? I want to be part of this WhatsApp group. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So that means that now it's something that people want and they're interested in it. And that was an aha moment for me. I think we have a privilege of being white and different. So I think people trust us intuitively more that we know what we're doing. And also we are very recognizable when we do something or walk somewhere. So I think it has worked in our favor, and that's a big privilege also. Yeah.
I don't think anybody would have known what we were making if they hadn't paved the way for us. So thank you. But yeah, I agree. It's a privilege to be able to do what we do and have the recognition that you're talking about. So there was recently a Star of Mysore article posted about my bakery, and someone made a comment on the post on Instagram saying that, oh, these things are so expensive and these white people can get away with charging so much. And I had a lot of thoughts about it. I do agree that it's a privilege that we're able to just get away with these things. I think it's earned. It should be earned. It shouldn't be that, it's a given. But I also think that both Dina and I really, really care about what goes into our pastries, and the quality of our products is very high. And because we hold ourselves to such a high standard, all of the costs go up. We want livable wages for our employees. We want really good quality ingredients, and we want everything to be fresh for the customer. So all of those things do factor into our costs as well.
As we know, India is a very diverse country, and we already have lots and lots of cuisines to taste, which may probably end till the lifetime of one particular person. So how do you manage to bring people towards you? How do you attract them with your German food?
I think for us, it's a lot of what I like to eat myself. There's a lot of passion and heart in it, and I think for Raquel it's the same. There's a lot of family recipes that we try to incorporate, and then obviously there's some adjustment to palette of what people like here, because not everything might sell that I would really like or that somebody in Germany might really like, and then people here might not like it at all, so you need to adjust. I think what worked for us in terms of attracting was definitely social media after a point also, and being very transparent on social media about what ingredients we use and how we work and how the kitchen looks, because some kitchens look terrible, and not all, but some kitchens are not run very well, right? So I think if you're very transparent and honest, it gives people a sense of relating, and it makes you much more approachable, and that is the community aspect of it. And then obviously keeping the standard of your product very, very high. And I think there's some kind of novelty to it right now in India as well. So it makes it more interesting because it's something new, which is good timing. I think a lot of things in business are luck and timing also, and I think we have that right now, so yeah.
Hi, I'm Monica. To add on to her question, have you guys considered Indianizing your products anytime? Because to match up the palette of the people here, because if you consider McDonald's or any other brands, each organize it or to change it according to the Indians' palette?
So we have on our menu, rotating, a palak paneer croissant. Because when I was testing the croissants, the first time that we were successful, I was making croissants just in my house. And the first time that I succeeded, I had also made palak paneer for lunch. And I thought, I don't have bread. I'm gonna just, I don't want to eat it with rice. So I had it with a croissant, and it was such an amazing combination. So to a point, yes, we do adapt. But I also am very firm with like what I'm willing to, how far I'm willing to push that boundary, because I also want the integrity of our products to stay intact. So yes, we do have some Indian options sometimes. Like we have a kesar and badam croissant, but it depends. It depends on if it goes or not.
So I have a question to both of you. And what was the story or the reason behind choosing this name?
For Sapa, it's I like small abbreviations. I think they're very easy for everybody to say. I don't like all these French complicated bakery names because I think it's a disservice to people. I always imagine if you call your friend and you're on the phone and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to La Bonnelle. It's very artificial. You know, it doesn't sound nice to me. So I felt like it should be, for me, it should be a short, easy name that anybody can pronounce. And Sapa stands for the two German words, sourdough and pastry, and the first two initials for both words. So if I would have taken the English ones, it would have been Sopa. So I felt like, Sapa sounds nicer, let's go with that. And it's easy, everybody can say it, no brainer.
So what is the top selling product in your bakery, in both of yours?
You want to talk about the name?
So the local friendly bakery is, it's from my mom. She bakes a lot at home. She makes, up until last year, she was making more at home for free than I was for money. And so she has this, she bakes bread for all of her friends and extended family, and it comes to 30 or 40 loaves of bread every Friday. And so one of her friends just, he calls her and he says, I'm here to pick up my bread. And she goes, oh, this is your local friendly bakery. How can I help you? And so I just thought that was really cute, and I stole it from her. She's okay with it, though.
I think there is one more question there. Yeah, back.
What is the top selling product of both of your bakeries?
For us, it's the donuts. And in savory, it's the club sandwich. And those we just make a lot of all the time, and have been since the beginning also.
For us, it's the chocolate croissant. Everybody likes them. It's a very crowd pleaser. But our menu rotates every week, so it's very hard for me to say what's the top selling product. I don't know. The only two that are really on the menu the whole time are the plain croissant and the chocolate croissant. So I can say with certainty that the chocolate croissant is the most popular.
Hi, this is Vivek. So coming into the point of sustainability question, what Madam asked, I just wanted to ask, what is your model? Have you developed some routine practices of utilizing the waste what you get in your bakeries? So making organic material or something, or maybe some manure or something which I can think of. Is there any practices followed by your bakery, so which might help make environment more friendly? That's what I wanted to ask. Should I ask once again? No. Is there any requirement?
So we compost. We have a really large composter in the back. And we use the compost. We have a very large garden, so we use the compost in the garden. So we segregate the waste. All the wet waste goes into the composter. That goes into the garden. We try not to waste water. We did have a consideration of should we use organic cleaning agents or non-organic, but then decided to use non-organic because it's a commercial kitchen and we just do not want pests to come in at any cost. So we felt like sometimes it's good to go with more commercial options, and wherever we can, we try to go with sustainable options.
For us, we're not really at the stage where we have a huge amount of waste, thankfully. As I said earlier, the food waste that we have is quite minimal. And when we have wet waste especially, because we have cows across the street, all of our wet waste just goes to feeding the cows. So we are basically helping the milkman to give us milk. It's a lovely system.
You employ local people, I guess. And what is it that you like about the work culture? And what do you see as the challenges of the work culture that you see here?
I personally feel that people here are very used to working long hours because you don't get paid per hour, which is very different from European work culture. And that means that a huge part of people's life is at work, and whatever in what I would have learned from home, things you keep separate from personal and professional life gets very, very mixed here. And that's very difficult sometimes to comb through. So you have very, very personal issues that get brought to you, and you need to solve them for people, which was very new for me. But then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense, you know, if you work 5-6 days, and at Sapa we cap off at 8-9 hours, but even then, that's still a very large part of your life. And I think communities here are not so much based on necessarily friendships. There's a lot of family community, and then there's work community. So a lot of things are being figured out at work, and then you have all these community things that play into it. So we made it very, very clear that you cannot make certain caste remarks. You can't treat people differently based on their community. We will make biryani for Eid, and we will make special sweets for Diwali, or even for Dasara. We will give different sweets, and we will do a puja. So we try to accommodate everybody. But if you are not nice and you're being very, very rude to others, then you don't have a place at work. So I think you kind of cut off very fast, and I might not know everything that happens at work anymore, but I try to keep the system with the team leaders such that everything gets spoken about, and we have a lot of team meetings, team leader meetings, and sub-team meetings, so that everybody gets to voice out things, because then you can discuss these issues and problems. And I think that's very important for us, that when you grow and you have different sub-teams, you can grow into silos. So my team has no idea what your team is doing, because we never interact much. So that I really want to prevent, which is why we do these meetings all the time. Every week, everybody has to come for meeting, and everybody needs to know what's going on with the other teams also.
Hi, I have a question here. My name is Pradeep. Imagine tonight you get a call from your best buddy in Germany and say, look, I want to come to India and I want to start a business. So apart from baking, what would you recommend and why? And do you see opportunities here, and how would you guide your friend?
Somebody calls me and tells me they want to start a business, I would tell them what they told me at the FRRO. Go into manufacturing, go into steel, go into a business that's going to make them lots and lots of money so that they're not on your back. But in general, I would just go with what you're passionate about, because I don't think that you're going to, if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason. You have to be in a business because you care about what's going to happen at the end, what the result is of your hard work or of your field of interest. So any international or local person coming to India to do business, it's what you're best at and what you're passionate about.
I think I would probably tell them come to India first once and see if you like it. Yeah, but I also think every industry is different. Like I find it amazing how some business families in India are just so good at business, and they've been doing this for so long. I have not seen that in Germany, because most people in Germany are employed. There's not many self-employed people, because it's such large centralized corporations everywhere. And here you have these business families, and they're just so good with it. Even if they do hospitality, I might not be super into the food, but the way they run their business, I'm just in envy and awe how amazing they know numbers. I have a friend and he can sit in any business for 1 hour. He will know the revenue, he will know how many people come and go, how much waste they have, where they could save money. Like, it's just amazing, and it's very stunning.
Thank you.
So, as Raquel mentioned, that people from foreign countries, they come over here because of their passion towards it. I don't agree to this point entirely, because else, like, why would you have come over here and set up your own business? You said the initial capital that is required in order to start the business, it is comparatively low. So mainly you are revolving around money itself. The profit-making thing, that's the one. And then it might be German-based or any other country for that matter of fact. At the end of the day, as someone mentioned over here, you have to also indulge in certain Indian cuisines as well. Else you won't get to have an extra edge. Because people also expect your foods to be according to our Indian cuisines, like some of them. Might not be everybody, but most of the people who come to your restaurants, they expect it to be much more salty, much more spicy, like that. So, like, what do you tell about this? Like, you know, what's your opinion on that?
So, can you repeat your question?
Yeah.
She's telling it's about. You said it's not about money, but
yeah,
it's about.
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, it was very circumstantial. I did not come to India thinking, yeah, I don't have to spend any money on my business. I was already here. So I came in 2020, I got stuck here during COVID time, and I weighed all of my options. I didn't want to go back to the United States. I really had nothing waiting for me anywhere. So I thought, I had met my fiance, my partner. I had met him already. And I thought, you know, I can stay here. I can stay here and I can see what I can do. So that's what really fueled my decision. It was a very big bonus that it's much more affordable. But I think what I saved in money, I've paid for in mental health, dealing with all of the bureaucracy and all of the of immigration. Because that's very, very difficult to do just by itself. And then with regards to your second half of the question about adapting all of your food to the Indian palate, we do to an extent, but as I mentioned earlier, I don't really want to push the boundary too far, because after a while you lose the integrity of what you're making. So we make French pastry at the bakery, and if I Indianize it too much, I don't think it'll be French pastry anymore. So I want to keep it as integral as possible and as true to French pastry as I can, while still using Indian ingredients and highlighting Indian things. But I don't feel it's a priority for me to really Indianize my whole menu, because then how will we be different from everybody else?
Okay. Thank you for being great audience and then for those great questions. So with that, we will close the Q&A session.
For patiently answering all our questions. So before that, I just want to highlight a few key learnings from their conversation today. So first thing what I liked is making friends with your stakeholders, building a community, networking, and constantly getting new problems are the root or the reason for you to constantly learn and show the improvement. And one more dialogue that was delivered by Dina is to be women and not to compete with men to become men. So being women itself is one of the greatest thing and quality what we all should carry. That was one thing. And thanks to both of you, and thank you Ashwini Thammaiah for such an insightful, engaging discussion. Now we move on to the special moment where we honor and appreciate our speakers and moderator. I would like to invite Dr. Mahesh Rao, President TiE Mysuru, with TiE board members to come forward and present the mementos to our esteemed speakers. So Mr. Nagarajan will be on the dais felicitating the speaker and the moderator. Yes, yes. Shabrishan, sir. Lakshmi Sangameshwara, student member from VVCE, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. It's my immense pleasure to deliver this vote of thanks in this amazing event. My father used to always tell me that a woman financially and emotionally depends on one or the other person throughout her life. In her childhood, she depends on her father. As a teenager, she depends on her brother. Once she gets married, she's dependent on her husband, and in her old age, she'll depend on her son. And this society doesn't care to change about this. But a very few people become exceptional. And he used to tell me that I always want you to be independent. I always want you to be unique. To create your own life without standing in the shadow of other people. After listening to his words, I decided to write my own destiny. Today, I'm so happy to witness two such independent and great women who have made enormous achievements in their respective fields. On behalf of TiE Mysuru chapter, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Dina Weber and Ms. Raquel Cohanim for accepting our proposal and joining us for this event. A special thanks for sharing your invaluable experiences and entrepreneurial journeys with us all. Your candid insights, coupled with our inspiring stories, have undoubtedly left a lasting impression on everyone in this room. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Mahesh Rao, President of TiE Mysuru chapter, for gracing this event with his presence. I would like to extend a special thanks to our moderator, Ms. Ashwini Thammaiah, for moderating this event and making it a successful one. We are grateful to all the members, associate members, and student members of TiE Founder Series for curating such a stimulating event and providing a platform for these remarkable women to share their stories. This Fireside Chat serves as a testament to the importance of fostering a supportive network for all the women entrepreneurs. This insightful discussion has not only shed light on the challenges and triumphs faced by the women in the business world, but it has also served as a powerful source of motivation for aspiring entrepreneurs, myself included. I extend my gratefulness to all the other dignitaries and guests who have significantly contributed in making this event a memorable one. This evening has truly been a remarkable success, and I am confident that it will serve as a catalyst for many aspiring entrepreneurs in our midst. Thank you once again to all the dignitaries, organizers, and our dear audience. Thank you one and all.
That's all for the day. Thank you all for joining.